Next up, why 4 tech companies say adoption is the wrong AI metric. Charter's Brian Elliott gathered practitioners from Atlassian, Zapier, Udemy, and others for a closed-door forum on AI measurement, and the conversation is that companies furthest along on AI adoption are quietly abandoning adoption as a metric. Microsoft summarized the shift, quote, "We used to pay attention to adoption. Now we just pay attention to performance." Zapier's chief people officer put it a bit more starkly, quote, 97% adoption rates mean almost nothing. The collective diagnosis is that early AI ROI measurement got captured by vanity stats. Atlassian's Ben Ostrowski noted that most of the time was simply reinvested in the admin work or correcting AI outputs. Research from ActiveTrack found that time on email, messaging, and admin tools more than doubled among AI users, while focused uninterrupted work fell by 9%. Quote, "We never said once everyone uses a computer, we've solved technology." If you've spent the last 2 years building AI adoption campaigns, you may have been optimizing for the wrong outcome. The organizations are now asking, is it making the business better? Needed to get mass adoption first before they could ask that question. What's the lesson here, Jenni, or is there a lesson here we can learn?
Yeah, I think there is a lesson here. And when I was reading this, it reminded me of all of the digital change programs that you and I have probably done in several organizations, where I was always looking at adoption and engagement as the metrics for digital platforms. So we have got the adoption piece, and then the engagement, and the engagement metrics can be made up of all sorts of different things. I'm not going to get into a digital measurement seminar today, but it was important to make that distinction because a lot of teams just want to focus on adoption. Now, you can apply exactly that same logic to the AI stuff, which is exactly what they're saying is adoption doesn't mean anything. Like, yes, but what's it actually achieving as an organizational business outcome? This is what we talk about all the time in the world of communications and channels and all of that stuff. Like, so what? To what end? Why are we doing this? And I don't think that question is asked enough before people run off and play. And I think with the AI stuff, certainly with the clients I'm chatting to, a lot of people are using it. They're using Copilot because that's all they've got. But there's been no talk about the impact that's having on the organization in terms of the benefit that's bringing for the team. Because to the point of this research is uninterrupted work fell by 9%, and they're spending more time on all the admin stuff because it stops you having to do some of the big work so you can free up to do the admin work. So the lesson for me here is I think you do need to have a look at adoption at the beginning, but I think it's a short-term measure. And then you've got to have the business outcome before you even start the project. And then you move on to measure that. And I think that is a lesson we've been trying to beat into people for years.
I'm gonna take a different approach.
Okay.
First, I don't know if you're familiar on Saturday Night Live. They have this once somebody's hosted it 5 times, they get like a special designation as like this 5-time host, and it's like this special club. I think Brian Elliott's getting close to Nick Bloom on numbers of mentions and frequency. And so maybe we need to start a little special club of people. Once you get to a certain level, you're in this club of mentions. I like the approach on this, but it's also, I don't know, the Zapier, the people officer, the quote, like 97% adoption rates mean almost nothing. That's false. You get 97% adoption in anything. We're not talking AI. You get 97% adoption in something, that is massive. I think it's easy to abandon adoption as a metric if you struggle with that metric. If you're not getting the adoption you want, you can say, hey, wait a minute, guys. No, adoption is not the thing. We don't need to be going after that. Let's go after this other thing then instead. I think adoption is actually a really strong signal of interest. Now, what does that adoption mean? I think that's your point. Yeah. Where does it then go? What's the long-term impact? And is adoption ruining other things? Is it people spending more time in the wrong areas or not the right time in the other areas? That's another thing. So adoption actually, to me, does mean something. It's easy to say it doesn't mean anything when you don't have it.
So I agree and I disagree. So I really like the quote about 97% adoption rates mean almost nothing, because it comes back to the point of like, so what? So what that 97% of people are using it? Like, what does that mean in terms of what we're trying to achieve? So I like your framing of what it signals. And I think that's the bit that's important of because it is a big deal. You're right. To get 97% of people doing something is definitely a good thing, but it signals it signals something. And I don't know whether it signals the right things for the outcome that you're looking to achieve. And all of that comes back to what's the end goal. And I don't think people know that with AI. I don't think they know what the end goal is, which is why there's a lot of adoption, but not a lot of outcome or output. And the ROI is not great because people are still figuring out what it can do and how it can help. So it still feels like we're quite messy, but I think it's the right conversation to be having about why are you using AI? What are you hoping it's going to achieve for your organization? Is it going to allow you to go to a 3-day work week because you've managed, to give people time back? Absolutely not. They're going to go, no, it means we can then make these people work harder and to the death and do this. But that's the conversation that should be. How does this change how we work? That's the big goal, surely.